The girl suddenly ran into the bathroom and started throwing up non-stop. It looked exactly like a pregnant woman's morning sickness. Terrified, her mother patted her on the back. At the same time, she tried to comfort her, saying she had probably just eaten something bad. But early the next morning, the couple realized things were nowhere near that simple, because the girl's stomach kept getting bigger and bigger, and she could barely fit into the largest size of children's clothes. She looked like she was several months pregnant. They rushed their daughter to the hospital, but after examining her, the doctor said the scans showed no major problem. At most, it was probably just lactose intolerance. Even though the mother still felt uneasy after hearing that, she could only take her daughter home first and keep an eye on her. But in the middle of the night, the girl suddenly started rolling around in bed in pain, clutching her stomach and breaking out in a cold sweat. The couple did not dare delay any longer and immediately took her overnight to the biggest hospital in the area. But the ER doctor only took a quick look and casually said it was just ordinary acid reflux. He said she would be fine if she just walked around more after meals. The mother instantly exploded with anger and rushed up to stop him, forcing the hospital to re-examine her daughter.
You find me another doctor, you run some more tests. I'm not leaving this hospital until I know what's wrong with my daughter.
Seeing how persistent the family was, the doctor had no choice but to nod and agree. But it was not until dawn was almost breaking that a new doctor arrived with the test results. The doctor told them that the girl had an abdominal obstruction, which basically meant her intestines had twisted. If she did not have surgery immediately, she could die at any moment. Before the couple could even process it, the nurses had already wheeled in the equipment and started preparing for surgery. The father watched helplessly as a tube was inserted into his daughter's nose. At that moment, his hands were trembling. Although the surgery was over, the real bad news was only just beginning. It turned out that her intestines twisting was not an accident, but because she had a severe intestinal motility disorder, her body was almost completely unable to digest food normally, and she could only stay alive through a feeding tube and liquid nutrition. Even more devastating was the fact that there was almost no truly effective treatment for this condition. From that moment on, the girl could no longer eat like a normal child. The only things that stayed with her were pills, feeding tubes, and waves of unbearable pain. Her mother refused to simply accept fate like this, and started calling major children's hospitals everywhere for help. The father mortgaged the farm and sold off the family's property, all for the chance to buy his daughter a chance to live. But 6 months passed, and every plea for help vanished like a stone sinking into the sea, without a single reply. Just when the mother was about to break, she was suddenly awakened by the disappointed look in her older daughter's eyes. She finally understood that if she collapsed first, the whole family would truly fall apart. So early the next morning, she took the girl and flew straight to Boston, because that was where the best pediatric doctor in the country was. And even if she could not get an appointment, she had to go and try in person. Sure enough, the hospital still followed procedure at first, saying that if they wanted to see a doctor, they would have to wait at least another 6 months. Holding back her tears, the mother had no choice but to leave. But then she unexpectedly received a phone call, telling them they could come in for an appointment first thing the next morning. This sudden opportunity finally let her see a glimmer of hope again. After examining the girl, the top doctor told her that although the girl could not be completely cured, they could try using medication to help her digest food. That way she could at least get rid of the feeding tube and live like a normal child. But this treatment could only relieve the symptoms, not cure the disease, and they would have to travel back and forth to Boston every week for follow-up visits. From Burleson, Texas to Boston Children's Hospital was nearly 3,000 kilometers. The treatment costs and travel expenses combined were almost like a bottomless pit. But the mother still gritted her teeth and kept going, because she had no other road left to take. At first, the treatment really did seem to work, and the girl finally showed a smile they had not seen in a long time. But as time went on, the side effects grew stronger and stronger, and every night she would wake up from the pain in her stomach. The pain was so intense that she was losing even the courage to keep living.
I want to go to heaven where there's no pain. Baby, if you went to heaven, you wouldn't be with me and Daddy anymore, and you'd leave a hole in my heart.
I'm sorry, Mommy. I don't want to make you sad. I just want it to be over.
Original audio. Gradually, the girl began refusing to bathe, refusing to take medicine, and refusing to cooperate with treatment anymore. And in the endless traveling and crushing expenses, the mother was finally worn down to the edge of collapse. She sat by the window and called her husband, crying as she said, "Let's stop, bring our daughter home." On the day of discharge, the doctor personally walked the girl to the door, her eyes filled with helpless guilt. After returning home, the girl barely spoke anymore. She simply sat blankly in front of the house every day, as if she were waiting for fate to hand down its final sentence. To cheer her little sister up a little, her older sister suggested they climb a tree again, just like when they were little. Encouraged by her sister, the girl finally climbed up slowly. The two sisters were talking about happy memories from the past, and the girl even showed a rare smile. But in the very next second, a thick branch suddenly snapped, and she fell headfirst into the hollow tree. Hearing the scream, her father rushed over, but the hollow tree was too deep, and it was so dark inside that nothing could be seen. After the fire department arrived, they realized the tree was too old. Cutting it down could cause secondary injuries, so they could only carry out the rescue bit by bit from above. Everyone at the scene felt that after a fall like that, the girl's chances of survival were almost zero. The mother knelt in front of the tree and cried until she lost her voice. She could only pray desperately, begging heaven to give her daughter back. 3 hours later, the girl was finally lifted out, and what truly left everyone in disbelief was that she was still alive. More than that, after examining her, the doctors found that aside from being a little weak, she did not even have any obvious injuries. Even more unbelievable was the fact that early the next morning, the mother found that her daughter's stomach had actually returned to normal. The girl even took the initiative to say that she wanted to eat. Her mother immediately rushed her back to Boston for another checkup. But even the specialists were completely stunned when they saw the results. All of the girl's medical indicators had somehow returned to normal. This strange illness that had tormented their whole family for so long had seemingly disappeared overnight. After returning home, the girl even began trending online, and everyone said it was a miracle from God. But in her heart, the mother understood better than anyone that what had truly carried them to this day was not just some so-called miracle. It was also the people who quietly pulled them up when they were at their lowest. It was the classmates who never looked down on the girl, the waitress who was willing to give them a discount, and the ticket agent who helped them find cheaper plane tickets. It was also the hospital receptionist who, even at the risk of losing her job, still fought to get the girl seen earlier. In the end, with tears in her eyes, the mother said that she did not know whether God had truly appeared or not, but she did know that kindness, courage, and love were the truest miracles in this world.